In the world of criminal investigation, most cases follow a predictable pattern. You start at the beginning. You follow the evidence forward. You build your case, piece by piece, until the truth reveals itself. But sometimes the only way to find the truth is to work backward. This is the story of a conviction that happened too fast, a timeline that seemed perfect, and a team of detectives who realized they'd been looking at everything the wrong way. This is the case that only made sense backwards. October 14th, 2019, Clarkson County Courthouse, Northern Virginia. The jury had been deliberating for less than 4 hours. For a case this complex, that was fast. Too fast, some would later say. The defendant was Marcus Holloway, 32 years old, a logistics coordinator at a regional shipping company, charged with the death of his business partner, David Chen. When the verdict came down, guilty of second-degree murder, the courtroom exhaled. The prosecution had built what seemed like an airtight case. But in the back row, Detective Sarah Navarro wasn't celebrating. Navarro had been the lead investigator. She'd worked the case for 9 months. She'd helped build the prosecution's timeline. She'd testified. She'd done everything right. So why did something feel wrong? The case against Marcus Holloway had always seemed straightforward. On the evening of January 8, 2019, David Chen died from what appeared to be blunt force trauma in the warehouse office of their small freight company. Marcus discovered the body at 9:47 p.m. He called 911. He was emotional. He was cooperative. He gave a statement immediately. And that statement would become the cornerstone of the case against him. Marcus told investigators he'd left the warehouse at 6:30 p.m. David had stayed behind to finish some paperwork. When Marcus returned 3 hours later, David was dead. Security footage confirmed Marcus left at 6:34 p.m. His phone's GPS showed him at a restaurant 7 miles away from 7:15 to 8:50 p.m. But there were problems. David's phone showed unusual activity. Text messages sent from his phone at 8:23 p.m. But the medical examiner estimated time of death between 7 o'clock and 8 p.m. Someone had accessed the company's financial records at 8:45 p.m. from David's computer. Records that showed significant discrepancies. Money missing. Over $200,000. And Marcus Holloway was a co-signer on every account. The prosecution's theory was simple. Marcus left the warehouse to establish an alibi. But he returned earlier than he claimed, killed his partner in a dispute over the missing money, staged the scene, then discovered the body later. The jury bought it. But Detective Navarro couldn't stop thinking about what didn't fit.
3 weeks after the verdict, November 2019. Sarah Navarro sat in her office long after everyone else had gone home. The case file was officially closed. Marcus Holloway was awaiting sentencing. Her job was done, but she couldn't let it go. It started with something small. A detail that had nagged at her during trial, but that she dismissed as irrelevant. a witness named Claire Voss, a bookkeeper who worked in the office adjacent to the warehouse. She'd given a statement in the initial investigation. She said she'd heard voices. Two people arguing around 8:30 p.m. At the time, investigators assumed she was mistaken about the time. The medical examiner said David had died by 8 p.m. Case closed. But Navarro pulled Claire's statement again. She read it carefully. Claire had been certain about the time. Absolutely certain. She remembered because she was locking up her office. And she always left at 8:30 p.m. If Claire was right, and if the medical examiner was right, then who was arguing in that warehouse? Navarro called the medical examiner's office the next morning. Dr. Elizabeth Raines had performed the autopsy. She stood by her findings. Time of death, 7 to 8 p.m. But when Navarro pressed her, those estimates aren't exact, Dr. Raines admitted. It could have been as late as 8:30, maybe 8:45. Body temperature, rigor mortis. They're guidelines, not clocks. That single conversation changed everything. Because if David Chun died closer to 8:45 p.m., then Marcus Holloway's alibi wasn't just solid. It was ironclad. He was still at the restaurant when David died. Detective Navarro brought her concerns to her lieutenant. At first, he was skeptical. The case was closed. The conviction was sound. But Navarro persisted. "Let me review it," she said. "Just one more time." She assembled a small team. 2 junior detectives, a forensic analyst, and a prosecutor from the Conviction Integrity Unit. They met quietly, unofficially, and Navarro proposed something unusual. "We've been building this case forward," she said, "from the beginning to the end. But what if we go backward? Start with what they knew for certain. David Chun was dead. His body was found at 9:47 p.m. Work backward from there. Not with assumptions, not with theories, only with facts they could verify. Marcus called 911 at 9:47 p.m. Marcus's phone GPS placed him arriving back at the warehouse at 9:41 p.m. Marcus left the restaurant at 9:03 p.m. Verified by receipt and restaurant security footage. So the window between 9:03 and 9:47 p.m. was accounted for. Marcus couldn't have killed David during that time. Go back further. Claire Voss heard arguing at approximately 8:30 p.m. David's phone sent text messages at 8:23 p.m. Someone accessed the company's financial files from David's computer at 8:45 p.m. If David was alive at 8:45 p.m., working at his computer, then the medical examiner's initial estimate was wrong. Navarro requested a secondary review of the autopsy findings. Dr. Raines agreed to revisit her conclusions. She examined stomach contents, body temperature logs, lividity patterns. Her revised estimate, time of death between 8:30 and 9:15 p.m. That changed everything. Because now, the impossible became possible. Marcus Holloway couldn't have killed David Chun. He wasn't there. But someone was. The team went back through every piece of evidence. Not asking, does this prove Marcus guilty? But asking, what does this actually tell us? Security footage. The warehouse had 3 cameras. One at the main entrance, one at the loading dock, one in the parking lot. Marcus left at 6:34 p.m. Confirmed, but the footage had been reviewed forward, start to finish. Looking for Marcus. What if they watched it backward? At 8:52 p.m., a vehicle appeared on the loading dock camera. It stayed for 7 minutes. Then it left at 8:59 p.m. The original investigators had noted it, dismissed it as a delivery truck that got the wrong address. But now, the forensic analyst enhanced the image. It wasn't a delivery truck. It was a silver Honda Accord. Navarro Navarro ran the partial plate visible in the footage. 3 possible matches in the county. One of them belonged to a woman named Rachel Torrance, David Chin's former assistant. She'd left the company 4 months before his death. Rachel Torrance had never been interviewed during the original investigation. She'd left the company in September 2018. David was killed in January 2019. There was no obvious connection. Navarro started digging. Rachel had been David's assistant for 3 years. She handled bookkeeping, invoicing, client communications. She left suddenly. No 2-week notice. Just gone. The official reason: pursuing other opportunities. But Navarro found an email thread between David and Marcus from September 2018. Marked confidential. David wrote, "We need to discuss Rachel's departure. There are discrepancies I need to review with you." Marcus replied, "Whatever you need. I trust your judgment." Discrepancies. That was the word David used. The same word that would appear months later when investigators found $200,000 missing from company accounts. Navarro requested a forensic audit, not of Marcus's accounts, of Rachel's. Between June and September 2018, Rachel Torrance made 8 deposits into a personal account, amounts ranging from $18,000 to $31,000. Total, $203,000. The exact amount missing from the company. David had discovered the theft, confronted Rachel. She left before he could report her. But David didn't let it go. In December 2018, David filed a civil complaint against Rachel, seeking restitution, threatening criminal charges. The court date was scheduled for January 15, 2019. David Chun died on January 8th, 1 week before that hearing. Navarro obtained a warrant, Rachel's phone records, her credit card transactions, her movements, and there it was. On January 8th, Rachel's phone pinged off a cell tower less than a mile from the warehouse at 8:34 p.m. Her credit card was used at a gas station 3 miles away at 9:17 p.m. The timeline suddenly made sense. Rachel arrived at the warehouse around 8:30 p.m. She and David argued. Claire Voss heard them. Rachel, desperate to avoid prosecution, lost control. David died sometime between 8:30 and 9 p.m. Rachel sent text messages from his phone, accessed his computer to delete evidence of the civil complaint, then fled. At 9:41 p.m., Marcus Holloway returned to the warehouse, unaware, innocent. And 6 minutes later, he found his partner dead. He called 911, and 9 months later, he was convicted of murder. December 2019, Detective Navarro and 2 officers arrived at Rachel Torrance's apartment at 6 a.m. She was arrested without incident. In the interrogation room, Rachel initially denied everything. She hadn't been at the warehouse. She hadn't seen David. This was all a mistake. But when Navarro laid out the evidence, piece by piece, the security footage, the cell phone data, the financial records, Rachel's story began to crack. She admitted she'd gone to the warehouse that night, but only to talk, she said. To plead with David not to press charges, to ask for more time to pay him back. He wouldn't listen, she said. He kept saying I betrayed his trust, that he had no choice. They argued. The argument escalated. David turned his back on her, walked toward his desk to call the police. And Rachel panicked. She grabbed a heavy paperweight from the desk. She struck him, once, then again. And when she realized what she'd done, she tried to cover it up. Deleted files, sent texts from his phone to make it look like he was alive, wiped surfaces, and then she left, believing she'd gotten away with it. Rachel Torrens was charged with second-degree murder, the same charge Marcus Holloway had been convicted of. But Marcus was still in prison. Navarro immediately contacted the Conviction Integrity Unit. A motion to vacate Marcus's conviction was filed within 48 hours. On December 19, 2019, a judge overturned the verdict. Marcus Holloway walked out of prison on December 20th. He'd served 63 days for a crime he didn't commit. Rachel Torrens went to trial in April 2020. The evidence against her was overwhelming. She accepted a plea deal, 25 years. Marcus Holloway was free, but the damage couldn't be undone. Today, Marcus Holloway lives quietly. He sold the freight company. He doesn't do interviews. He doesn't talk about the case. But in a brief statement released through his attorney, he said this: "I don't blame the detectives or the prosecutors. They were doing their jobs. I blame a system that moves too fast, that rewards quick convictions over correct ones." Detective Sarah Navarro still works homicide, but the case changed her. In a rare interview, she told a local reporter, "We're trained to build cases forward. Follow the evidence from the crime to the arrest. But sometimes, the truth is hiding in the other direction. Unravel what you think you know. Question every assumption." The case changed more than just Navarro's approach. The Clarkson County District Attorney's Office now requires a mandatory review of all convictions obtained in less than 6 months of investigation. Training programs for detectives now include sessions on cognitive bias, on the danger of confirmation bias, on the importance of questioning your own conclusions. Because this case taught them something crucial. Sometimes the timeline that makes sense isn't the timeline that happened. Sometimes the perfect theory is perfectly wrong. And sometimes the only way to see the truth is to look at everything backwards. This has been a Turning Point Cases investigation. The case that only made sense